Hello, good day. I am Anwar Subsi, and today we are going to talk about the sampling technique and population. So, what is sampling technique and population? So, in conducting research, one of the most crucial steps is identifying the population in the choosing of appropriate sampling technique. These components significantly influence the accuracy, reliability, and generalizability of a study's results. Without proper sampling, even well-designed studies may yield misleading or biased conclusions. What is a sample? A sample is a subset of the population that is selected for actual participation in the research. The goal is for the sample to be representative of the population. A good sample mirrors the characteristics of a population, increasing the reliability of generalizations. So, what is sampling techniques? Sampling techniques are methods used in research to select a group of individuals, items, or data points called a sample from a larger group called a population. Sampling techniques are generalized. So sampling techniques are generally divided into two main categories. First, the probability sampling technique. So these techniques give all members of the population a known and equal chance of being selected. It enhances the representatives of the sample. Probability sampling is favored in quantitative research due to its scientific rigor and objectivity. And there are four types of probability sampling technique. First, the simple random sampling. So in every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. Example, drawing names from a hat. This method minimizes selection bias and is ideal when the population is homogeneous. Second, systematic sampling. If every nth member of the population is selected after a random starting point. Example, choosing every 10th student from a list. This technique is simple and ensures evenly spaced selections across the population. The third one is the stratified sampling. The population is divided into subgroups, the strata, and random samples are taken from each group. Example, dividing students by grade level and randomly sampling from each. It ensures all K subgroups are proportionally represented in the sample. The fourth one is the cluster sampling. The population is divided into two clusters, usually based on geography or groups, and entire clusters are randomly selected. Example, randomly selecting certain schools and surveying all students in those schools. It is also cost-effective for large populations spread across wide areas. And the other type of sampling technique is the non-probability sampling technique. So this do not give all individuals in all equal chance of being selected. While easier and cheaper, this may introduce bias and affect generalizability. These techniques are often used in qualitative research, pilot studies, or when the population is hard to process. This includes the following: convenience sampling. Participants are selected based on availability and willingness. Example, surveying classmates because they are easy to reach. Although fast, the results may not reflect the wider population. The second one is purposive or judgmental sampling. So participants are chosen based on the purpose of the research or the researcher's judgment. Example, choosing expert teachers to participate in a study on educational strategies. This technique ensures that only relevant and informed participants are included. third one is the quota sampling. So researchers ensures that certain characteristics are represented by selecting a specific number from each group. Example, selecting 20 males and 20 females regardless of randomness. So quota sampling is useful when demographics must be balanced in a study. And the fourth one is the snowball sampling. So existing participants recruit future participants from their acquaintances, useful for hard to reach or hidden populations. Example of this are the drug users or undocumented migrants. So this is especially effective when studying communicative, when trust and connection are crucial. So now let's tackle about the factors to consider when choosing a sampling technique. So first, the nature of the population. It must be homogeneous or heterogeneous. Second, the research objectives, either in quantitative or qualitative. The third one is the available resources, the time, budget, and the manpower. The fourth one is desired accuracy, level of precision, and confidence. And the last one is the accessibility, if it is ease of reaching the population. Choosing the right technique depends on balancing scientific accuracy with practical constraints. And what are the common mistakes in sampling? It includes the following. First, using a non-representative sample. Second, sample size is too small or too large. Next, the bias in selection. And the last one is ignoring important subgroups in the population. So in avoiding these errors protects the credibility and validity of the research findings. So we have learned about the sampling techniques. So now let's talk about the population. So what is population? So the population in research refers to the entire group or individuals, events, or objects that the researcher is interested in studying. It is the group from which the researcher wants to draw conclusions. So a clearly defined populations helps narrow the scope and ensures the research stays focused and relevant. So just like the sampling techniques, the population has two types, the target population, accessible population. So the target population is the entire group about whom the researcher wants to draw conclusions, while the accessible population, it is the portion of the target population that is actually available and accessible for study. So researchers often rely on accessible populations due to practical limitations in time, location, or resources. Selecting the right population and applying the appropriate sampling technique is important for the validity of research results. While choosing sample ensures the findings are reliable, meaningful, and applicable to the larger population. So researchers must carefully consider the type of sampling method to use based on the nature of the study, available resources, and goals. Sampling is not just a technical process, it reflects the researcher's responsibility to uphold fairness and scientific integrity. And that would be all. I hope that you learned something about sampling techniques and population in your research, and have a nice day ahead, and don't forget to share this video. Thank you.